So vehicle combat in general has changed a bit in COH2. The drivers of vehicles can be injured directly. You can also have other types of criticals. So no longer is it just the out of control. You can have a variety of criticals that will slow down a vehicle, take primary and secondary guns out, plus affect the driver. Vehicles can also be abandoned. So a crew can get to a point where they say, wow, that's it, this combat's too intense, we think we're about to die because this thing's going to blow up, and they run off the battlefield, which is actually more akin to what would happen in the original, in real war scenarios. In COH1, most often a tank would explode when it was finished, but in real battles, tanks are often fine. What's gone is the crew that was inside, because they're dead, because they smoked out something. So this game, we've actually sort of enhanced the gameplay around tanks to allow for that. A vehicle can be abandoned on the field, and even if it's an opposing force, so if it's a German tank and I'm a Soviet conscript, my squad can get inside it, my engineers can repair it, and now we've got a fully functioning tank that we didn't pay for. The weather changes in COH2. It's really focused on winter. It's the addition of winter. The spring mechanics haven't changed a lot from the original COH. That's a very familiar game experience. But the juxtaposition of spring and winter play really lets you see how different those mechanics are. You can play the same map in multiplayer in a thawed version, essentially, where there's water that you can't cross. So victory points you're trying to get to, you have to go around the edges of water. If a bridge gets destroyed, now there's no way across that. But you can play that same map in the winter version, and the ice is passable, so you can drive across it, you can run across it. It changes all the distances between things. Plus, you have to deal with wind, and so finding cover to keep your troops warm. You have to deal with deep snow that not only makes your troops slower, but also leaves tracks, so you can see where your opponent has been doing a lot of play. You have to deal with ice that can break, so the ability to sink, essentially, vehicles or infantry with nothing more than just a grenade. And you have to deal with blizzards that close in the line of sight, make it slower for your troops to move, and cause your infantry units to die faster from sheer exposure to the cold. True sight affects gameplay in a lot of different ways. So really what it does is hides parts of the map that previously a player would be able to see. And what it's doing is it's calculating on a per unit basis what their sight lines are and what they're able to see. In the maps that we have played today, they're a bit more open, so true sight really affects in the where the wooded areas are or around buildings. And sometimes you can get you can have an enemy force that's revealed literally meters away from where you are, your forces, either because they were hidden behind a building or because there was a crest in a hill, and because of the hill they sort of didn't get exposed to the last second, and you get a lot more surprises. Players are able to make ambushes that are more discreet and also more effective once they learn how to play the maps. We also have some dense urban maps in this game. Urban maps with 4-story buildings, and true sight really comes into play on those. You can literally be advancing your units towards an intersection, and the tension is palpable. Sometimes I'm approaching an intersection, and in the past I just click into it, yeah, it's fine, I'm not going to worry about it, because I kind of have a sense of what's around there. And now it's like, I know that the next time my guys step forward, I'm going to get to see, but there's a chance there's 2 tanks facing in at me, and my guys aren't going to last. So it's added a really great tension to the game. So at launch in Company of Heroes 2, we don't have a save feature for multiplayer games, but we know that it's important. We know that more people want that kind of a thing. I actually also really like the idea that people could load games, load sort of famous games that are being played by the most high-ranking players in the community, and then see what you would do in that scenario from from their game. So it's something we won't have at launch, but in our long-term strategy. I mean, we've got a 5-year strategy for content for this game and features, which includes online features, and I'd really like to get that launched as fast as possible. Oh, the biggest challenge in terms of designing this game is definitely keeping it authentic to the franchise, but making it feel fresh. So we have a really great fan base for COH, and we want to make something new, but we can't make it too different because they want to play the same game. They want something that's familiar, that plays by the same rules, but also feels like it's fresh. And that's where I think we've struck a good balance. We've made modifications in almost every system in the game. Cover's modified, garrisoning buildings and vehicles is modified, destruction, all the damage tuning, the targeting, all those systems have been enhanced and changed from the original game. But then we've added the cold mechanic, added True Sight, which modify all of those things. And so I think we've got a neat balance of fresh gameplay and existing gameplay. We're a long way out in the development process, or through the development process. We actually have an alpha test starting with some members of our community and some other members shortly, within a week. And our launch date is spring next year, 2013.